It's time for Real Estate 101 with the KareyBrown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors.
Good Sunday morning to you. This is KareyBrown, broker owner of Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. Today, I am here with June McGehee and Tara Dimick from Envista Credit Union. How are you guys?
Doing good.
I'm good, Karey. Thank you for having me.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about Envista. Tell us about the background.
Well, Karey, Envista is celebrating 60 years this year of being a part of the Topeka community. We have over 38,000 members and approximately $317 million in total assets. We really do pride ourselves on our service to our members. We have 9 branches, 7 of which are located right here in Topeka. We also have a branch in Lawrence and Hutchinson.
Oh, wow. And Tara, you just started with Envista, didn't you?
Oh, no, I started in November.
Oh, so not just started.
Not just. But I've been there a little while. I'm still. It's no longer a fire hose. You know how that when you start at somewhere, it's like, whoa, so much information. It's not like that anymore.
So the blank look, the deer in the headlight look,
it's over.
Has left.
Or at least I can't use it anymore.
Okay. And June, how long have you been with Envista?
I've been with Envista 2.5 years. I have been in the mortgage world, so to speak, approximately 15 years. So I have been at different financial institutions, but I feel like I have truly found my home at Envista.
So if they were to see the deer in the headlight looks with you, that means something's really off.
It's a bad day.
It's a bad day.
Well, Karey, I definitely pride myself when I go to the purchase closings to represent Envista. I do not like the deer in the headlight look. So that would make me very nervous.
Yeah. So it's definitely, you would just have to say that would be so rare that it probably would never happen.
That is very true.
Got it. So what is the difference between a credit union and a bank?
Well, Karey, many people ask us that question, and credit unions are unique, and they are a not-for-profit financial cooperative. So its main purpose is to serve its members' needs. There are no stockholders to be paid, and net income is returned to our members in the form of lower interest rates, higher dividends, and lower-priced products. It's very easy to become a member with Envista Credit Union. It only requires a $5 initial deposit into a shares account to establish that relationship, and the benefits are truly endless, in my opinion.
Let's talk about the benefits. What all, as a credit union member, not all of them, but just touch on some of the things that they get with being a credit union member.
I truly feel like the best benefit that you can have for being a part of a credit union, it's like a family. And I don't use that term loosely, Karey. I actually was a member of Envista before I went to work for them. And I'm just going to tell a little personal story here, but my husband, again, keep in mind I'm working for a different financial institution in Topeka, and for 3 months in a row, he come home after making our car payment, and yes, he's old-fashioned, and he actually walks into a branch to make the payment. He would come home and say, "They are so nice there." And the first month, I just said, "Oh, that's great." The second month, "They are so nice there." And this is not a term that my husband uses loosely, so it obviously caught his attention. The third month, when he come home and said, "They are so nice there," it opened my eyes, and I thought, maybe I better investigate this a little bit more. I was at a point in my life where maybe I was looking for a little bit more of a different atmosphere in my work, and so I made a couple phone calls, and ended up, being in the mortgage department, and I absolutely love it, and everything that he said holds very true. When you walk in the door, the purpose of Envista people and employees is to make the member feel very welcome and very, very comfortable in their environment. So I think that's the number one benefit, but there's so many more financially. We can offer lower interest rates because, again, we are not paying a limited number of stockholders. It is member-owned, and I think that is invaluable.
Absolutely. So what would be the one thing that you would want your members to say about you?
Oh, goodness. Well, coming from the fact that I manage the mortgage department, the mortgage processing department, I would want them to say, I knew exactly what to expect when I went to buy my home. There were no surprises, and you made the process as easy as possible. I think we all know, you being very well respected in the real estate community here in Topeka, that buying a home is not for the faint of heart, so to speak. It can be very stressful. It feels like everybody wants to know everything about you. So I think the best compliment someone could give me is that they were very well informed throughout the process, and they felt very comfortable when they went in to sign the final papers.
Absolutely. I know on my side, if at any given point in time a client says, I didn't feel like that was explained well enough, it's like, stop everything. This has to be clear. You have to understand. It's important. It's vitally important that you understand exactly what you're getting yourself into. Not that it's a horrible thing or anything like that. It's just so important because it's a huge financial decision. So we definitely want to make sure that you're super informed and you understand, because there's a lot of terminology being thrown at you. And
most people don't use the term annual percentage rate or escrow, or you can add to the list, as I'm sure you've heard all of them, Karey, but that's not normal language in a household, I think.
Yeah, inspection aggregate, all kinds of cool stuff. Yeah, any kind of acronym you'd like to learn. It's almost like we need a dictionary just for all the stuff we throw at you. So we definitely take pride in making sure you understand everything. So how many loan officers do you have?
We actually have 18 loan officers. Every branch manager and assistant branch manager in our branches is a licensed loan officer with an NMLS number attached to them, which basically means that they are able to quote rates and are very knowledgeable about a mortgage process. So I think that sets us apart in the marketplace. You don't have to, although it's wonderful if you make an appointment, you don't have to go to a certain branch or speak to a certain person. I know many financial institutions only have one or two in the Topeka market. Whereas you can literally walk into your closest branch, those people that you go to for your auto loans, for your Visa, Envista Black, by the way, Visa that is, and your unsecured loans. Those people that you go into the branch to see every day, to ask about something on your statement, those are the people who can also help you with your mortgage loan. Well, who else do you feel more comfortable with than those people? We have members that walk into a branch and they know our branch managers and assistants by name. It is a family type atmosphere, and so I think it's so valuable that they feel comfortable with the person that they are giving all of their information to, and we just take great pride in being able to service so many of our members in this way.
So just because I feel like Tara should have to talk, Tara, what exactly do you do for the bank now?
This is only because I interviewed Karey, and so she's making me get interviewed as well. And if you're listening now, you should definitely stay on and listen to TK Business Live here in about, 20 minutes. So I am the Senior Vice President of Business Development for Envista, and really my role, I oversee the marketing department, make sure things are going well there, and then help with any of the product development that we're doing to make sure that what we provide our members, what customers are wanting, what is out there in the market is being looked at and considered as whether it's a best practice for what Envista should be doing.
And that's what she does. Okay.
You don't care.
Of course they care. The do's and don'ts of buying a home. What would you say, June, what's your best tips and advice?
Oh, goodness. Okay, Karey, here we go. For all of you people out there who are looking to purchase a home, the do's, Do be prepared to provide your last 2 years' W-2s, current 30 days pay stubs, and bank statements. How else are we going to know what kind of house you can afford if we don't have that valuable information? If you're self-employed, be prepared to bring your last 2 years' tax returns, personal and business, depending on how you file those. My second, do be honest. The more upfront you are regarding your particular situation, the smoother the process will be, and ultimately you'll be much happier at the end. Do ask lots of questions when visiting with our loan officers. My favorite saying, or one of my favorite sayings related to my work, is knowledge is power. And so I want you, as our member and someone who is purchasing a home, to have as much knowledge as you possibly can. Again, the more knowledge you have about the process, I feel like the better satisfied you will be at the end when you go to purchase your home. Do be realistic about what you can afford and be prepared for the unexpected expenses of owning a home. For example, if you make $12 an hour, I don't know how realistic it is for you to want to purchase a $250,000 home. So just be realistic, and it's our job to help you think about that and to evaluate your income and kind of give you a thought process on what a payment will be and what might feel the best in your with your income and your family in mind. I like to say, it happens to the best of us that there's always going to be expenses after you purchase your home that maybe you weren't completely prepared for. I think it's very common for the garbage disposal to go out a week after you close on a home or something very unexpected. I know personally I had it happen to me. I purchased a home in September and we moved in, and 2 weeks later I thought, why is it 90 degrees in here? And it was because my heating and cooling system went out. And even though I did have a home inspection on it, it just didn't pop up that was a problem. And so I always feel like it's very important that you don't spend every penny that you have saved to get into your home, because there's always going to be those things that you want to do, paint some walls, do some landscaping. You always want to have, some money set aside to take care of those expenses. Those are my main do's. Here's some of my favorite don'ts. Don't change jobs, or even worse, Karey, quit your job during the process.
Be nice to your boss the entire time.
Yes, folks, that really does happen, and it is a frightening experience for us on our end, as well as heartbreaking for you when you do not have a job and we can no longer qualify you for the loan. So just a tip, we do call your employer approximately 4 days before closing to confirm you are still working there. So that's one of the key ones. Don't quit your job. Don't take out additional credit. I know you're so eager to buy the new furniture or buy whatever you think is going to look awesome in that spot the second you walk through the door, but hold off. If you don't have, the cash readily available or an excess supply of money, do not take out any additional credit. And don't upgrade your vehicle. Now's not the time. Hold on to that, 2010 car instead of upgrading to the 2017 model. Don't move money around without providing a paper trail. Many people think that we don't really care where the money comes. Well, many people care where the money comes. The government cares. We care. This is a very heavily regulated industry. And so we want to make certain that if you're moving money around, for example, if you're withdrawing from a 401k or doing something in that manner, that you have all of the documentation to prove this is your money and where it came from.
Probably should add that if you are everybody thinks cash is king. Cash is cool. Except for if you're moving it out from underneath the mattress into the bank account, it now has to do what they call cure. So it has to sit in there for a while, and you also have to show where you got it from. So cash may be king, but it still has to have a paper trail.
Oh, Karey, That is a great point because, yes, we still have people who say, I've got $20,000 in a coffee can or $15,000 in my mattress. And I cringe when I hear that because it is exactly right. We call it curing or seasoning. Your money must be seasoned. So I always say if a loan officer calls and says, Mr. Smith has $15,000 under his mattress, Mr. Smith really needs to go and get that into an account. And if he doesn't have a local account, please come in and deposit it here at Envista.
Absolutely. I always joke because we have clients that have sent us pictures of all of the money to buy a house spread out on a bed. And my first comment is, number one, will you adopt me? And second is, which lender would you like to talk to because you've got to, or which bank would you like to talk to because you've got to now move that to the bank?
Yes. Oh, goodness, yes. So, don't spend the money you have set aside for your down payment, closing costs, and prepaid items. So, if you're a Jayhawk fan out there and all of a sudden they're in the Sweet 16, don't be tempted to go and withdraw a bunch of money so you can follow them to, the Final Four. Please refrain. Save that for the next time they get there. Show some resistance and hold on to that money and be prepared for all of the expenses. Don't close all of your long-standing, perfect pay credit lines. We have people who think, I haven't used that, in the last few months. I'm going to shut that down, and that way they can see I'm not going to extend any more credit. Well, if you have had that since you were in college and you've had perfect pay on it and you've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of perfect pay history on that long-standing credit line, do not shut it down. It is helping your credit score every month. And probably my last big don't co-sign on a loan for anyone else.
Ever.
But especially when you're buying a house.
And my next don't would be don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Southwest Topeka has a good neighbor. State Farm agent Jim Garrison, now at 29th and Urish. If your current insurance situation has you going around in circles, get off the roundabout and stop in and meet Jim and his wonderfully efficient staff. Let Jim Garrison give you a quote and make the Garrison comparison. He's confident that with State Farm's competitive rates, the right coverage, and his unmatched service, you'll want to make him your new insurance agent. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and Jim Garrison is there for you, northeast of the roundabout at 29th and Urish.
And thanks for not going anywhere. This is KareyBrown with Realty Executives Preferred Advisors, and you're listening to Real Estate 101. I am here with June McGehee and Tara Dimick from Envista Credit Union, and we were just discussing how organized June is. I mean, you've got to be an amazing loan officer. And, of course, Tara took all the credit.
I did. I took all of it. I was the one that said June has to be on your show. So.
She actually did, so we're going to let her take that part of the credit. But I think that the organization part was really, truly June.
I think so.
Okay.
So.
I had to fess up and tell Karey that until yesterday it was all in my head. I mean, being in the business for 15 years, it's all up in the head. But I decided if I was actually going to do this radio show, maybe I should get something down on paper to be a little bit more prepared.
Tara and I are pretty used to people flying by the seat of their pants.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know very many people that walk in with paper to the show.
No, especially with bullet points.
I love it.
It's so amazing.
She's coming on my show next, just because she's so organized.
We love everybody that comes on this show, and so it makes it lively and it keeps us on our toes. So I definitely, and especially being on Tara's show, it's like, oh wait, I have to answer questions now. That's really kind of weird. So I don't envy you at all on that side of the table. Okay, so let's talk about time frame when you're buying a home. What should a buyer expect?
Okay. Well, Karey, I feel like I really feel like 3 months prior to at least 3 months prior to purchasing a home, that you kind of need to start thinking about it and getting yourself together and getting your documentation in order. We are very honest and upfront when we start this process. So having the required documentation and bringing that into us is critical to the mortgage process. The typical time frame to close on a new mortgage purchase is 30 days. Now, Karey being on the realtor side and me being on the lending side, I certainly can relate to closing things in 2.5 weeks. That's not the desire, but we can.
Might want to watch putting that one on the air.
She's chuckling over there. But, when we get a purchase contract sent over from someone such as Karey, we always are looking for the closing date. The typical closing time frame is 30 days to 45 days. Again, if there is an emergency or something, we can certainly close it earlier. But you should expect somewhere in that 30 to 45 day time frame from start to finish. We are able to lock in our members, again, with some of our great low interest rates, up to 45 days in advance. And I really feel like that this is very advantageous in today's market. As anyone who is looking to purchase a home has probably been watching the rates, I still call this cheap money in a good way as far as being cheap.
Yeah, especially compared to the good old days as you hear, 8, 9, 21%, back when it was really crazy.
Yes. And, I think all of our parents probably had those rates and they had great credit. It was just the going rate back then. But, today's interest rates are still phenomenal, and it is a great time to upgrade, or even people who want to have a starter home, they can get more of a starter home now than they definitely could, 10 to 15 years ago. So our fees are very competitive with other financial institutions in the market. I would encourage, if someone is shopping for a mortgage loan, first of all, don't let numerous people pull your credit. That probably should have been on my don't list, shouldn't it have, Karey?
Yeah.
But if you have two people that, you want to compare, we welcome that. I mean, I would put us up against anyone else as far as our interest rates, and we are very honest and upfront about all of the fees, and a lot of the fees are third-party fees. We are very well versed with the title companies in town and the appraisers on what their fees are. The best way to do that is to compare the APRs, and I think you will find typically we are the lowest interest rate, if not very competitive in the market, and you will find over the long run when you compare the APR with another lender that we will be able to save you thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. We always make certain that our mortgage members are very informed, because I think it's really important to make a financial decision versus an emotional decision. And I would hate for Karey or another great local realtor to take you house hunting without you knowing what you can really afford, and for you to fall in love with your dream home only to find out that you can't afford the payment. So,
which is the reason why we stress all the time, get pre-approved first, and then put that dollar figure into your budget and see if that really works. Because oftentimes you're approved for more than what you really should spend. And what we call dubbed house poor can really happen to you. So it's really important that you know what your budget is. And if you need help setting a budget, we do that also. Same as I'm sure you could go through and say, okay, do you want to be able to eat groceries, buy groceries and go to the movies and go on vacation and stuff like that. So really dig in and find out what you can afford. So that whole step is number one.
Yes, I agree, Karey. Many times what they can be qualified for on paper is not what they qualify for in their real true-to-life budget. I always say, in your heart, what do you really feel that you can afford? What are you going to be comfortable with when you add in your principal and interest as well as your taxes and insurance into your budget? Do you want to eat mac and cheese and beanie weenies for the next 10 years, or do you want to be able to grill out a steak on your nice new patio? The majority of people, as Karey mentioned, are going to want to be able to grill that steak and go to the movies and do all of those things that they're used to. You may love the home. I'm pretty sure we can qualify you for a home that you can afford, that you're going to very much love.
Absolutely. So what should they expect from you on closing day?
Well, when we get to closing day, it's such an exciting day, and I don't take closing day lightly either. We close a tremendous amount of mortgages in a year, and every day is a closing day for someone, typically for us. I go to all of the closings unless we have multiple going on at the same time. And I guess I should add in our local market here. Either myself or a team member go, but I go to probably 90% of them, and it's an exciting day. But what we want to expect when we walk into the closing table at the title company is for you, our member, to feel incredibly prepared. There should be no surprises. It should be a fun day, an exciting day. You should know everything that you're looking at when you go to sign those papers is everything that we have gone over with you, or one of our loan officers has gone over with you. Many of you may not be aware that October of 2015, the government kind of revamped a lot of the paperwork involved with mortgages, and it was called TRID, T-R-I-D, and it is absolutely wonderful. We were already doing a lot of the things, but the paperwork involved in that is so very concise and clear-cut. It's very easy to read. And I just think that when we walk into the closing table, you've already seen all of that paperwork. You have seen your fees by then numerous times. You've been able to discuss it, go over it, be very well aware of it. You should be able to know, all of the third-party fees involved. And really, it's just a day to sign on the bottom line and just feel very comfortable and excited about your next step in your life.
Absolutely. And usually by that time frame, you've seen everything, or you should have. You should have seen all your inspections, understand what you're asking for. I mean, all of that is the process that a realtor should do, and ask all of the questions that you need to ask of Envista and make sure that you understand that. So by the time you slide into closing, you've probably packed a lot of boxes, and you're probably going to have some questions too. So that's really nice to have a lender there and present and ask, answer some of the questions that they might have. It's not very often, though, that I find that they aren't completely ready to go and they've got it all down. Mm-hmm. So
I know that the title companies here in Topeka and the realtors, they love if the person is approved locally. I don't think that we can stress that enough. I know Karey can probably elaborate on that a little bit. If she has a seller and she's entertaining an offer from a buyer, if it's someone that's not local, that the person cannot walk in and actually speak to them and clear up any confusion if there is any, it's a little bit of a frightening experience when they don't have a local lender. So with us, again, they can walk into any branch. We can answer all of your questions. Our processing department, my team, located right here in one of our branches, right here in Topeka. You can always come in and sit at my desk. We can go over anything. Our servicing department as well. We service 100% of our loans, Karey. So their escrow, we'll take care of that and paying their taxes and insurance when it becomes due. I think it's such a valuable feature to have in lending. So
absolutely. So if they were wanting a mortgage, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go into any one of our branches located here in Topeka. If you want to speak to me directly, my phone line is 785-228-8183, and that is to my direct line at my desk. Again, 228-8183. But they can walk into any branch here in Topeka, Lawrence, or Hutchinson, and simply walk up to the counter and say, I would like to talk to someone about a mortgage. And within minutes, they will be sitting in front of someone who is very well versed and knowledgeable.
Absolutely. And if you're looking to buy or sell, give us a call at 785-213-5188. And if you'd like to search for homes, check us out at TopekaHomeAdvisors.com. Thanks for listening to Real Estate 101.
Thank you for listening to Real Estate 101 with the KareyBrown team from Realty Executives Preferred Advisors. Tune in again next Sunday at 11 o'clock for Real Estate 101.